Tampa Bay Spirits presents Haunted Campfire Tales Live. Welcome. Gather around the fire. Get comfortable, but not too comfortable. The true ghost tales are about to unfold.
Hi, I'm Rob.
I'm Joan.
I'm Beth, and Les is on his way.
I'm Robin.
And I'm Joy.
So we've changed the name to Ghost Watch, but we haven't made a new intro yet. So we're Ghost Watch podcast now. But we're glad that you're here, and we do have some scary stories to tell you, some ghost tales. I guess they're not scary. Most of them aren't scary.
Hopefully not.
Do you guys ever have any scary ghost? I don't ever have any scary ghost stories. Mine are always like, okay. Paul says, "Good evening, ghost whisperers."
Hello,
Good
Paul.
evening, Paul.
I think the only scary one I have is that one from when I was 10. Otherwise, they never really scared me. Whatever happened, it was just par for the course, I guess.
When I was little and I saw things, oh, Marjorie, we're so glad to see you.
Yes.
Marjorie,
We're glad that you're
Hi,
here.
Marjorie.
so nice
How
to
are
see
you? When I was little and I would see things, I would see people like around my bed and stuff. And that used to terrify me when I was little.
It wasn't me. Okay.
That would be
Continue.
creepy.
Some of them you weren't even born yet, actually.
Oh my goodness. That's terrible.
Because I robbed the cradle. Marjorie's doing good. I'm glad that you're doing good, Marjorie. But, you know, and I would tell my parents and they'd say, there's no such thing as ghosts. That's your imagination. There's nothing happening there, you know. And every night I'd be so scared. And I just, you know, I wish that somebody would have paid attention to me and told me what was going on instead of that. But that's the only time that I was scared.
I don't remember telling my parents anything, but by the time I was like 12, I fully understood that my mother was a believer and wanted to know all she could. So that was comforting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is good. And, you know, our grandkids, they're well, oh yeah, so Numi and Soren both got to investigate with Adam and Jesse over at the coffee shop that we went to in Bartow. They went there for lunch one day, and the owner was like, she recognized Jesse right away and said, "Oh my gosh," and the upstairs was closed, and she said, "Come on, we can go upstairs. I want to show you something. There's another handprint and an arm print on the mirror up there where we were." And so then she let the kids investigate. And Numi put a book that she was reading open on the table, and she says, "If there's anyone here that would like to speak with us, could you turn the pages on the book?" And I thought, that was so smart. That was so
Yeah.
clever.
Yeah.
I really like your new hairdo, Jonah. Looks wonderful. Now I'll be quiet and let all of you get on with the podcast. Thank you, Marjorie.
I was going to say that
appreciate
too.
it.
I was really surprised. It looks great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not surprised that it looks great, but surprised that it was cat.
Did anything scary happen on your investigations? Paul wants to know. That's what I'm saying. Things that scare other people. I think that for those of us here, we're kind of like excited and run toward that. We're not scared. We might be startled if it's a loud noise, but we're not scared. But I know that other people would find it scary.
Yeah.
You know.
There are times we get the creepy vibe. Sometimes things get a little bit creepy, but it's just not scary. Like we're not
scary.
like in danger.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, if it's somebody that's maybe not as nice as they could be. But that's not scared. But uh, I've seen a little girl, an apparition of a little girl, and actually, Chris and I had been um, talking with her through the EMF detector. She would light it up before we even started the investigation for about 45 minutes, and she had drowned on the bridge that we were in the water, not on the bridge. You can't drown on a bridge. I guess you drown under the bridge.
Flooded.
I guess. Anyway, she had drowned in the water that the bridge had gone over, and then later on that night, she did appear, and I could see her. Not everyone could.
Right.
Adam,
No, that couldn't.
yeah, Adam Berry and I could both see her, but nobody else that was there could see her. But she was a full blown apparition, and I did not find that scary. I was really excited. I don't know. I think when chairs move or things like that happen, I think that might scare some people, but I don't think it scares any of us, does it?
No. No, we want to
Just the
see that.
noise.
That's the kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you want to see on camera.
Yeah.
That you can't explain. I mean, there's no other explanation for that stuff.
Yeah, loud noises are startling,
Right. Not scary, but yeah.
not scary, but startling.
Yeah.
They make you jump.
You're in your own house and by yourself, that would be a little different.
It can be.
It can be
It can
a
be.
little nerve-wracking.
I have had things happen to me by myself, and I just say to them, no, not now. Wait until Chris comes home, and then we'll both talk to you. But
And what I was telling you before about the possible woman coming back to the house and in the bedroom, that hasn't frightened me at all. Even if she's still there, I'm in there all the time, and it's just, it doesn't, there's no bad feeling from it.
right. Chris Taylor says, when I was at the Mace Stringer, one of our haunted dolls randomly was found in dun dun dun.
Something.
We lost the rest of the
Yeah, it got cut off, Chris.
retype in.
There we go.
At the staircase.
It's a staircase. Hmm.
Yeah, I don't like dolls at all, so it wouldn't
No, the dolls and
They're
those dolls
not.
are kind of creepy looking.
I don't like dolls or mannequins.
Or
When
mannequins.
we go someplace to investigate and they have mannequins,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No.
No.
And they're also at Maystringer. So, and Chris Taylor is our new member of the Tampa Bay Spirits, and I'm so glad that he's joined us on this podcast and he's tuned in with us.
No.
We're very happy to have him.
We have a scary doll we had to put into a box and put it in top of the closet, or the kids wouldn't come over.
Well, I think I mentioned maybe on here about the oversized Raggedy Ann with the mouth that opens and closes that's wrapped in one or two garbage bags and then duct taped and in the back of the attic. That's where it's staying.
And we told you about that Simon game that you play, boop, 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 that
Yep.
it played even when it was turned off, and then we took the batteries out and it still lit up and played. And we
Nope. Nope. Goodbye.
okay. But did we tell you the terrible thing that we did? We sold it at a yard sale.
It's your problem now, kid.
We
But
didn't charge a lot for it.
no, a quarter.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't
free,
much.
free.
The ghost is free. But
Cheap thrills.
Yeah, does this thing work? Oh yeah, it works.
It worked.
Hold on, 'cause it works.
I don't think it was attached to this Simon, though. I think it was attached to us. So we got rid of the game, but not the ghost.
A lot of people that were like my mom's age would collect dolls.
Yes.
And so when you go to, to your like grandparents' house, and there would be a lot of dolls. And my son, when we would go to um, my husband's father's home, my father-in-law, they collected dolls, or she did, and he could not sleep in a room with the dolls. And
I'm not
yeah,
blaming.
but that was, I mean, that was kind of a trend back in those times when,
Yep.
I mean, they'd have little crocheted like
Yes.
outfits, and then you'd get the baby dolls with like the weird eyes, and some of them were like made of like porcelain, and just
Yes.
all kinds of them, and they were really creepy.
Or the ones that they crocheted them so they went over toilet paper and they were always behind
Yeah.
you when you were sitting on
Yes.
the toilet.
Yes.
Get this thing out of here, please.
Right. Right.
So we didn't blame him for not wanting to sleep in there.
Yeah.
So when he was really little, he would end up sleeping with us, and the next time we came, they moved all the dolls out of the room so he could sleep. Kind of like a clown thing.
There's that place in Tennessee, the Thomas Hotel or whatever,
Yeah. something
and
like that.
they have dolls all over the place there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. but
Chris
Chris-
says sometimes they would make the dolls with their children's hair.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, it's
No wonder it's haunted, right?
Right.
Hey, that's
when
my
when my son was young, and he was like maybe 2.5, a neighbor said, "I'm a doll maker, and can I take a picture of your son and make a doll and use him as one of my examples for the dolls?" And I'm like, no. That just seemed really weird. She said, "Well, I'd give you one," and I'm like, no.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. My first thought would be, oh, no, no.
I was at a book signing at a craft fair, and this woman was walking around with a baby, and it wasn't a baby. She
Oh, my
painted-
friends
Ooh.
have those.
Oh, I have
Was it
seen
doll?
that.
Yeah.
She's like, do you want to hold him? I'm like,
Creepy.
hell no.
I have
Beautiful and everything, but oh wait.
Yeah, that was weird.
Paul Hollis says, "Did I ever tell you all that I had a fist fight with a ventriloquist dummy in old Yugoslavia? He started it."
I'm pretty sure we haven't heard that story.
The dummy started it. I don't,
I don't like
that's,
puppets.
I
Puppets
really
either.
don't like ventriloquist
Right.
dummies. I mean, I don't like the dolls and the mannequins, but I really don't like the ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah, you
I'm
expect
100%
those to turn and look at you at like any minute
Or
They're
say something.
or say something. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that would freak me out. That would scare me. That would scare me. So if any ghosts are listening, they want to
You want
scare
to
me.
scare Tone?
Now you know. Now you know what my weakness is. Those just creepy. I lived in Mexico for 3 years, and in Mexico City, they have these floating gardens of Huachumilco, and there are a bunch of islands, and there are all these beautiful flowers and stuff like that. But there's this one island of the dolls where it's just all these dolls hanging, mind you, from trees and everything. And some of them are like 1,000,000 years old, and so they're all creepy, and they turn and look at you. I mean, they really are haunted, and it is the scariest, the freakiest. So yes, some things do scare me. That scares me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it does. It really, most stuff doesn't bother me, you know? Like when
Like
the
you don't
door
even
slams, I
hear
just
them?
keep talking.
You don't have to be near them. You see them like even on a show, a television show. It's
Mhm.
just I don't even want to look at them. Sometimes I feel
Mhm.
stupid for that, but it's like Yeah, no. No eye contact, please.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. So, anybody want to tell a ghost story about the war? Anybody have?
These are not war doll stories.
No, no dolls involved.
We tend to go off on our own little sidetracks all the time, don't
We
we?
never know,
Everybody's
right?
tuning in, they're like, wait a minute, there's no war stories.
It's about war stories. We're talking about dolls.
My,
Well, except for Paul Hollis is talking about beating up a.
Really?
dummy. that,
We really have to hear that whole story someday.
I know.
Wait a minute. Who's the dummy?
So, my dental hygienist said that she was going to, watch all of our old podcasts and stuff. And I said, okay, buckle up. Be prepared. There's a lot of silly stuff that goes on. She said, that's okay. As long as you're really talking about ghost stuff. I said, oh, yeah, we do. But there's also a lot of silly stuff going on. And some of the podcasts are like 2 hours long. So I'm just warning you, you don't have to stay to the end. But
sometimes the best stuff comes at the end.
oh, I know.
That's true.
So stay. Anyway, who wants to tell a war story about ghosts or paranormal anyway?
Well, I'll tell the one about that happened to my uncle.
Okay.
And he was on a ship, and everybody kept saying that this one, and I don't remember, like I said, I don't remember the details, and I can't ask him anymore. But there was this one room down below, like way down in the bowels of the ship, where people would a lot of times it would be they'd walk in and there'd be a cup of coffee sitting on the table steaming, even though nobody had been in the room. So that was the one thing, and they'd always say whatever they thought the guy that was in there, they'd say his name. Oh, he's in here having coffee. And one day my uncle was down there doing something, some kind of work, and here this is going to be weird because I really don't remember exactly what happened, but he heard a voice that said, "Get out of here now." And when he went out, either something struck that part of the ship or something blew up in that part of the ship, whatever, he got out just in time. And he was warned by, he thought it was whoever they thought was drinking the coffee, had warned him to get out. So it saved his life.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's
That is
cool.
cool.
The whole coffee thing I thought was interesting. You can see my cat. Say hi. Wait a minute. Hello. But I always thought it was interesting, the whole coffee thing. I mean, that they would go in and there'd be this coffee cup with steaming coffee in, even though nobody had been down there. But then the fact that he warned my uncle to get out. I was grateful. Whoever he was, I was happy that he took care of him like that.
Yeah, when I was looking up stories, I found a lot of stories about servicemen being warned. And I do say servicemen because it was, mostly I looked up World War I and World War II stories about them being warned by team members who had passed and telling them there was danger ahead or that there was bombs that had been set and ready to explode. And you can find a lot of stories like that online.
And when you think about that, did they stay there only during the course of the war for the purpose of helping their, fellow soldiers and then moved on, or are they still there? Sometimes I wonder about that. What is it like a job that you're now doing in the afterlife, and once you're done with that, you're ready to depart? I don't know. Just
a lot of ships, there are people, there are spirits left on those ships still doing, and these are ships that have been decommissioned and are now museums and stuff like that. And they are still there doing their jobs. And some of it, I think, must be residual. So it's really not a person there at all. It's just like a videotape playing. But some of it is intelligent because it interacts.
Right. And what I was wondering, because like with Vietnam, let's say, they no longer, like if you're on a ship, that has been your purpose. It's been like your home at some point, and you stay there because it's familiar. But Vietnam, once all your fellow soldiers are gone, would you still remain? And that's just not that I expect you to know. It's just a hypothetical, like, what does happen?
Mhm.
Well, it's interesting because I wasn't sure whether I was going to tell this story or not, but I had told, Beth and Lester earlier, so I think I will. My uncle died in World War II in Italy, and he was awarded the Silver Star posthumously for gallantry in action. It was and I Googled it today to see what the actual facts were because, you hear stories, but you don't know what happens. Apparently, it was one of the most bitter wars, parts of the war, parts of the bitter battle. They were climbing up sheer cliff rocks, and he was in a paratrooper. He was in a paratrooper division. He was the head of the company, and so then Google said maybe if you would ever go there, you would like to visit his grave because he didn't come home. The priest told my grandmother not to bring him home, to leave him there. And so he said, this is not he, Google, it said, this is where your uncle's tombstone is. This is where you can find it exactly. And then it said, many people visiting there say that they see paratroopers coming down from the sky,
Even
ghost
now.
paratroopers, even today.
Okay.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting. And they were called, what were they called? Devils.
Devil and
The
baggy
Germans
pants.
called them devils in baggy pants because they were so
Fierce.
lethal. They fought hard. But I personally don't think my uncle's there. I think I don't know, and I don't know if any of you have any other ideas, but I really have no idea why some stay and some pass on.
Right.
In Gettysburg, we met lots of spirits there that have chosen to stay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're trapped.
And the choosing may be the whole thing.
Hmm.
Like you're saying, they've chosen to stay
Yeah.
because there's some strong connection for them.
There's that
Yes.
ghost on Sykes Bridge that smokes,
Right.
that we've watched him smoke. There is no way that guy's ever leaving. He is having the
He's
time
got
of
a
his.
habit.
Yeah.
And he has free smokes, and he's having the time of his life. I mean, he is really having fun.
Really, time of his life.
Time of his afterlife,
It's
Okay.
after the
really enjoying all of these people marveling at this trick that he can do. I mean, he's having a good time.
He's like, it's just a cigarette, guys.
Anybody can do it. But yeah, so I don't. But when we were at Texas Hill House, there was something there that was keeping spirit there that didn't want to stay there.
It was dominating the other spirits.
Yes. Yep. Yep. And we were doing a flashlight session, and all of a sudden it ended because it didn't want the girl that was communicating with us to communicate anymore. It was done. That makes me so angry.
Yeah. It's bad enough when they're doing it in real life. I mean, not real life, active life, let alone the afterlife.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. It's frustrating. It really is.
Oh, do you have any more war stories?
Did you want me to tell the one about the down by Valley Forge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my eldest son and I had gone for a ride. I was just riding around. I think we were looking for covered bridges. I had no idea we were near Valley Forge. And he was driving my car, and we're driving. There were woods on either side. It was just a little narrow road. We're driving along, and all of a sudden the hair stood up on my arms, and I could almost see, like I could sense them to the point where it was almost as if I could see them, just men running all in one direction along each side of me on the road. And it was only afterwards that I realized we were almost to Valley Forge. So I'm going to assume, because when I was visualizing them in my head, they were wearing like colonial attire. I did not see them, but when I sensed them, that's how I saw them in my head.
Your
And
mind's
then,
out.
yeah. So I'm thinking, yeah, I was just, and that may be residual. I don't, who knows, or it's just, and I wanted to ask, I don't want to get off the topic because but when something is a residual haunting, it's just like repeating. So couldn't that happen if there's enough energy released, even in an occurrence that happens like now, where you could go back tomorrow and witness it again?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
for sure.
But yeah, okay. Because that I was thinking about that the other night, and I thought next time I'm talking to you guys, I was going to ask you what you thought. Okay.
I think it's really likely that you could see something like that. Especially like where you live, there's a lot of limestone, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
So wherever you have limestone or any kind of quartz or anything like that, we know, I mean, you use it in, in equipment and stuff to send, to do videos and all that kind of stuff. And so we know that that captures energy and stuff. So where there's a lot of limestone, we've found a lot of that kind of thing.
Because there are lime kilns. There's 1, 2, 3, like a 3/4 of a mile away, and they go all the way up the hill.
Yeah.
You keep going. So there's a ton of lime around here because they used to.
Yeah. And I think that lime is a good conductor of that kind of thing. What did you say, Beth?
A lot of Pennsylvania has lime and lime quarries. It's throughout that state and surrounding. Yeah.
Tennessee too.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee has a lot of. When we were at that dam.
That dam.
What was that dam?
What was that dam?
Why can't I remember the name of that dam? Beth and Les and Chris and I went there and investigated.
I have its koozie right here. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that
Haley's
doesn't.
Bar or something like that.
Yeah.
Haley's Bar.
Haley's Dam Bar.
Yeah, the damn bar.
Hell's Bar.
Haley's Bar.
Hell's Bar Dam.
Oh,
Hales.
okay.
HALES.
Hell's Bar Dam in
Hales
Tennessee.
Bar. I've heard of that.
Yeah. So Beth and Les stayed like on a houseboat where the reservoir was. And boy, when you were on that houseboat, it was like popping. There was so much energy. It was nuts. I mean, it really was crazy energy. Stuff in the water and stuff coming up out of the water, and it was wild.
Yeah.
People should have gone on that houseboat to investigate rather than going through the dam. There was more stuff happening there than there was in the dam.
A lot of fun. That whole area, when we entered the neighborhood getting to the dam, I saw 2 little girls and dressed in period clothes. It kind of looked like around the turn of the century to me. And 2 little girls just standing at a fork in the road. And I knew immediately they were sisters, and they were probably 8 and 10. And then later, going on tours of the dam, we found out that there was a tunnel that under that reservoir. Went
That was
under the
dramatic.
reservoir so that the children could get to school, and they would go through that tunnel. And 3 little girls were killed when that tunnel collapsed. So
Oh,
yeah,
man.
so I'm guessing that was
That was who you saw.
at least 2 of the little girls
Yeah.
the 2 that I saw were
Yeah.
part from that.
At that in that water by that dam, aren't there whirlpools in that? Did I
There
read
is
something?
a whirlpool, and you can watch
Yeah.
the whirlpool, and there's a lot
Yeah,
of
there's like there's a town underneath the water
town is buried.
that
They
they
flooded
filled
it.
in when they put the dam in.
But the whirlpool's always been there. The indigenous people have a lot of legends about the whirlpool and stuff. I was really excited to see the whirlpool because I'd heard so much about it and how much activity there was around it and indigenous activity, and I felt nothing.
Nothing.
Mm-mm. No. But on the other part where their houseboat was, there was a bunch of stuff. But
Party
know.
was over there.
the party was definitely over there.
There was not much sleep that weekend.
No, there was not, right? I mean, it made my watch go off and all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, it was really wild activity. And if you're sensitive and you're trying to sleep in that,
Forget that.
Doesn't work.
no, it's really bad.
My another off topic, but my mother used to have to wear she would fold up a handkerchief to wear under her watch because it would always go off once it was on her wrist. It would stop working. If she took it off and set it down, it start ticking again. But once she had it on, if she didn't have something between it and her body, it would stop running. She used to say it was because she had a weird electrical charge. She could have been right, I guess.
I think it is something like that because I used to have that same problem with watches, coffee makers, electric coffee makers, and vacuum cleaners. They would burn out when I was using them. I mean, they would just zap out of existence. It was expensive.
I was going to say had to have been expensive.
Well, that would work for me.
It was a lot of work.
So sorry, I can't vacuum.
Oh, my God.
Somebody else has to do
Well,
it.
let's see. Do I want to buy another vacuum, or shall I just get up
Run this
off
thing
and
around
go
the
back?
house.
And I think we went through a lot of toasters too.
Toasters too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think that has something to do with your the energy that you have, but
Put it off.
they
Yeah,
buffer things
sister,
better now, I think.
My sister blows light bulbs, and she's upset or angry or something, and she'll walk in a room and the light bulb will explode. That's the only evidence that the LEDs don't seem to do that.
Right. Because they're
As I said, I think they buffer things better now from that kind of energy. I mean, I don't think it was because of people energy. It was because of other EMF that they buffered it from. But yeah, for me, it was a lot of stuff like that. It's weird. It's very weird. I also, if I wear anything silver, it tarnishes right away. So
We moved to a house that I don't know. I always thought it was maybe the ley lines or whatever that went through it because, I mean, it was like the dishwasher went out, and then like a month later, the garbage disposal went out, and the microwave went out, and the stove went out, and the refrigerator went out. I mean, it was just almost like a cycle of everything. And we wonder, is there something like electrical or something? Was it or something in the atmosphere or something that would cause that? Because it was like just all within like 6 months. It was ridiculous that the way that happened. So. Or there could have been something there too that was making it happen. But it
yeah,
was really wild.
yeah.
Expensive too.
Yes.
Exactly. Very expensive. Well, any more? Oh, I have one more. A different uncle who fought in the Korean. Did I say this already on air? The Korean
No.
War
No.
one.
No.
Okay. My uncle was in the Korean War. The younger brother of the uncle who died in Italy. They're both my father was the middle child, and George was the oldest, and then Harold was the youngest. And so my the youngest of the three went to Korea, and he was did something on a plane. I don't know what, navigator or something like that. He wasn't a pilot. But he said that every time that they flew missions, that every single mission that he flew there, they were accompanied by orbs of light, which I think in World War II they called Foo Fighters, right? But they had those in Korea too. And he always thought they were UFOs. He thought they were alien craft. But I think a lot of uh, fighter planes have had that same experience where they had things accompanying them and watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did read an article about that. I don't. It was probably one of the pages that I lost, but yeah, there was something about that in that the list of.
About the Foo Fighters,
Yeah,
yeah, they still don't know what they were, but they all saw them. I mean, you can't have all those people seeing them
right.
and say there was some imagination, huh? That's And I also know that in Vietnam that they saw a lot of things moving through the jungles with them. They saw troops walking with them, ghost troops that they could they were accompanying them through the jungles.
Did you mention that yet?
Oh yeah, F.E. Warren Air Force Base. They
In Wyoming?
in Wyoming. It's considered it's considered the most haunted Air Force base on continental United States, um, or any facility, any military base. We know of one also in Riverside, California. March Air Force Base is also really haunted because they have a really big hospital there, and they bring people in from all over the country to that hospital, and a lot of people die there, and that's really haunted. Um, but this one is very haunted. It has a guy. Well, actually, it was a guy who was killed because he was having an affair with his commander's wife, and
Mhm.
his name is Gus. And Chris said it was like, oops, Gus. Gus became a ghost very quickly,
That's the
and
Lonely Ghost. That's a
he
book.
Gus the ghost, and he's seen walking around there. And then there's a period cavalryman who's on his horse, like leading a charge with the flag, racing through the base, um, and everyone in the base can see him when he comes through. And I guess he comes through a lot. I think it's really, back to what you said, Robin. It's like, why did they stay? Why are they staying on the ships? Why is he still leading the charge?
And I,
I
and
think
I like,
I
and I
think a lot
guess
of those are residual too. And
Yeah.
it's a pattern that they've repeated so much in life that it's repeated in death as well. But
and it was
it's just
probably
the
meaningful to them
yes,
too. I would think.
yeah, a lot of
Or it's a source of trauma,
trauma,
extreme trauma.
emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And it made an impact,
Made an imprint, like
Yes.
an imprint on
an
time.
imprint.
Yeah.
Because I don't, with the residual, I don't think that's an intelligent haunt. That
No.
is not a
No.
person doing that.
No.
That's like you're watching an old movie that
Yeah.
were imprinted. They did it so many times that it made an imprint.
Yeah.
So, and that's better to think. I That's great. I would hate to think of anybody actually in intelligent hunt that felt like they couldn't leave their station, you know?
And I think probably the paratroopers in Italy, that's probably also residual.
I'm sure that's residual. Yeah. Okay, I want to believe that's residual.
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is.
Yeah. Yes, I think so too, because it just happens, you know.
But not everybody sees them.
Nope.
Right.
There's lots of reports of that happening.
Hmm.
So I wonder why. Do you have to be a sensitive to see them, or why would some people see them and other people don't?
Well, there's a good question because um, why do some people see those things and some people don't? That's a really, do you have to be a sensitive or do they choose? And I'm not talking about the residual, I'm talking about the intelligent hunts, or do they choose who they want to show themselves to,
Right.
you know?
And
I
also, I think people choose to have a different mindset or just do where they're not open to it, maybe.
That can be.
I mean, sometimes things will show themselves to people who are like, I've never seen anything like that in my life and never wanted to, that sort of thing. But I think that some people just have closed that part of their mind, or that's just, or maybe not deliberately, that's just who they are.
Mhm.
Not everybody is open, and not necessarily that they're a sensitive, but that they're open to experiences that they may not otherwise believe in. Like where they're like, okay, that they look around and something happens. Okay, they've seen it because they're more open to they're willing to experience something that maybe doesn't make them comfortable or that they didn't think they believed in. Whereas other people are just like, oh, this is the way the world is. And that's that.
And I
And
think
sometimes they're
those
forced to
people
see as
that
well.
don't see it have sometimes been conditioned to not see it.
Right.
Like me growing up, it was okay for me to talk about the things I saw and the things I heard. It was accepted in my family. I learned really quickly it's not accepted everywhere else, but in my family it was accepted because it's come down through generations of people hearing and seeing things and that turned out to be true. And so it was accepted. But in some families, and I think Joan, that you had that experience, it was told, you were told to put it aside. That's not. And after a while, your mind will adjust to that. And just as the way I described seeing an apparition, I'll see it, but in the minute my mind goes, that's not supposed to be there, it's gone. It's gone, and I can't willfully bring it back or anything. So I think it's unconscious decision that your mind is taking over, maybe as a protection or something.
Right.
Well, that one house that I lived in Massachusetts, I had every day, I had a woman coming through in period dress. And so my grandmother loved having tea in the afternoon. And that's when it came through every day. So I invited her over for tea and plopped her down in the room where she came through every day. That's where we had tea. So she comes through and she stops and she smiles and she, floats on out through the other side of the room. So I turned to my grandmother and I said, "Did you see that?" And she said, "Of course I saw that, but we don't talk about that, do we?" And that was that.
Yeah.
Never mentioned
On my
it.
mother's side, everybody was very open about it. On my father's side, not so much about seeing spirits, but as far as anything psychic that might happen, like my grandmother always used to know when something bad was going to happen
Yeah.
on my father's side. And they were quite open to talking about that. But I guess to
Now,
them that was acceptable because it happened to a lot of them and they talked about it amongst themselves.
now, mind you, that same grandmother had no problem telling me about the banshee coming to warn of, well, when somebody was going to die, or that if you hear 3 knocks on the wall, somebody in your family will die soon. I mean,
Thanks a lot, right?
I
Yeah.
know. Here I'm a little kid, 10 years old, listening for knocks on the wall. Somebody gonna die?
Oh, that was 2 knocks.
It's another one.
My mother's mother would, or on my grandmother on my mother's side, she always shared things like that were from that had happened, that were paranormal experiences and things that had happened with her when her kids were young. And but none of her kids, my aunts or uncles, would acknowledge it. I mean, with us.
Wow.
They would not. They were, and my mom was just like, "That's just Mama Levy saying that. That's just nonsense. She's just trying to give you a good story, and that's nonsense." And my aunts and uncles did too, but she would talk about, like her sisters and her grandparents and all of these things that would happen. She would tell us those. I mean, we just kind of enjoyed them as ghost stories, but some that actually happened to her with children that she lost. And so, but they would not. None of them would acknowledge it. They just told us we were nonsense, and she was just making that up. And we knew she wasn't making it up, because she they were, like real great aunts and great grandparents and stuff like that. And because they were never usually out there with us, they'd kind of roll their eyes when we went out to sit on the porch, and she would tell us these things. We'd kind of sit around her on the swing. And so,
That's awesome.
Those are the best times.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Yeah, I I think that when Chris and I first started investigating many, many years ago, like thinking of the first time was what, back in 76 or something like that. And people back then were not as open to it as people are now. And even today, a lot of people are not open to it. But I think it's much easier to talk about these things now than it ever has been before. I think it was taboo to talk about it. You didn't want people thinking you were crazy. And then I think religion had a lot to do with it, about,
Yeah.
religious beliefs came into it. So it was just not, you couldn't talk about it. And now it's easier.
But I
All
think
that.
you're right. When people see things, they shake it off and just, they refuse to see things.
Yeah. So Paul Hollis says, do you think there are more ghosts around today as opposed to, say, 100 years or longer ago? That could very well be. There's more people.
More people have died.
Yeah, more people have died.
But not because of this. I don't think there are more around because there were less spirits adhering to the earth before than there are now. I think it's just we're more open about recognizing and welcoming them, maybe. I don't know.
I think things kind of went through, just like anything, things go around and come around, right? Something's in, and then it's out, then it's in. Yeah, it's a cycle. And so I do think way back in the day, like in the 1800s and stuff, everybody was interested in this stuff, and everybody talked about it. And so they saw a lot more of it and talked about it a lot more. And then it, goes through periods of where you're crazy if you see that stuff or talk about that stuff, and that it is just stories, like you were told, Joy, though, that's just your grandmother telling stories. But I think right now we're in a time of where people are much more open to it, and more people than not are really interested in what we do as paranormal investigators. They're always excited and say, "Oh, tell me, what have you seen, and what do you think?" And I mean, always. I've never had anybody go,
No.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
they're very superstitious too about things, about like throwing salt over your shoulder and
Oh my gosh, yes.
just all, I mean, just all kinds of things that were just superstitions and
Yes.
to kind of prevent evil and stuff like that. And one of them that I never heard, because I mean, I know there's some common ones that a guy was dating, his grandmother said, if you drink milk with fish, you'll die.
Whoa, that's a
I
wild
never
one.
heard that before. And because she got all upset because I grew up, we didn't have Kool-Aid and stuff like that. My mom was a registered nurse, and so we either had water or milk. And so, you know, I was just used to having a glass of milk with dinner, and I asked for a glass of milk. And she said, and she just like, no, no, you can't have milk with fish. And I like never heard that or found anything about that, but that was wild.
That's funny.
Yeah, my
But
one
like,
grandmother, my other grandmother, the my Lillian Donovan, that grandma, this grandmother, oh my gosh, so many superstitions. I think the Irish are very superstitious, and she was, everything was, you can't have birds in the house, you can't have birds in a cage, you can't open an umbrella in the house. If
Yep.
your nose is itchy, you're going to have a fight. If your hand is itchy, you're going to have some money come across it. I mean, it's like, so I got the other one telling me about banshees and knocking on the wall. And so I remember I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, Barbara, and my grandmother and I were walking someplace. And so, because she was my grandmother, I took the outside of the road and gave her more room on the sidewalk. And I was walking with one foot down on the street and one foot up on the sidewalk.
oh,
My grandmother almost had a conniption fit. I mean, she said, do you want that child to be a gimp? Which you don't even say a gimp nowadays. It's not PC. She said, I was like, what? And she said, get up on the sidewalk.
Did you
Don't
ever
let me
did
see
you
that.
ever hear you have to hold your breath when you pass a graveyard?
Yes.
oh God, yes. And then
Yes.
if you're driving through New York, it's like you never get a chance to
I
breathe.
know. Yeah, you may die just holding your breath. Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have far to go. You'd be in the graveyard already.
I
So,
know. Yes, I did. We were told that. Hold your breath when you. Oh my goodness. That's really funny. I am so glad that we don't tell our children
You know,
stuff.
we ought to do a superstitions one time and look like different cultural, superstitions about
that's a good
something that
idea.
'cause
That'd be
there
fun.
are some. I mean, it's like where did those things come from? Who made that stuff up? You know?
Right, right. Yeah. Especially that gimpy one about.
I know. I have heard. I don't remember what it was, but I have heard that before. That
Have you?
that you I couldn't remember what happened, but you don't do that. Go up and down, and you don't step on the cracks, and
Right.
go over those. And
Don't cry on New Year's or you'll cry for the rest of the year. That was what my mother used to say to me. And I always cried on New Year's because we usually had company. So they would all leave and I would be sad and I would cry. And she'd tell me I'd be crying for the rest of the year.
and if you wore certain color wedding dresses, then certain things would happen. And there's
Yeah.
all kinds of
A
stuff.
lot of wedding superstitions.
Yeah, yeah. There are. There are. Well, back to the war stories.
Yes.
Uh,
That's why
We digressed.
uh, what I was going to say is we've been to, this will be our 5th time going to Gettysburg.
Mhm.
And I have never seen, we've heard cannons that were not there, and we've heard rifle fire that wasn't there. It was ghost cannons and ghost rifles. but I have never, ever, ever seen an apparition of soldiers, and so many people have.
Yeah.
It's something I really, really want to see. At Little Round Top, we always go to Little Round Top. Well, when we went 2 years ago, we couldn't because it was closed for refurbishing. We could go down below, remember, and we could look up at it. But we've never ever seen anything. And we got that great picture of the guy smoking
Yeah.
at the battlefield. But I want to see you know, the men, people who've seen them on horseback.
Yeah.
Civil War
Maybe this
soldiers on
time.
horseback. I know. I'm really hoping.
Yeah. I've seen some really
Are
great
you going, Robin?
Who asked me that?
uh,
Joy.
Sorry. I was watching my fingers to see if they were crossing. I'm like, yes, I'm going.
I said, it better not be Beth because I'm staying with her.
Unfortunately, we had already made plans to go to Houston, which we're moving to Houston.
You're moving to Houston.
Wow.
I did not know that. Wow. So you're going to have a long way to travel to come and join us.
Or we can go there and look at things there, and she can join us
Yeah,
there.
there's some cool stuff in Texas too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No.
But no, I'm not ruling out any trips in the future. It's just this one didn't work out because of the
Right.
timing there, and we're looking for a home and selling this home, and
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but she gets to be with her grandkids, so that's the best.
That's the best.
Yeah. It's important, and I'm so happy for you all.
thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I have a ghost story from out of Afghanistan. If anyone wants to hear it.
All right.
It's not a personal one. I wish I had some personal ones, but I don't. So this is Afghanistan, and it's actually from 2009. And there are some Americans deployed over there, and they went to this place called Observation Rock, or they called it OP Rock. And it was a hill that just was a lookout for enemy soldiers. And so they would have teams that would station there for a couple weeks. They'd move out, and another country's team would come in and surveil the area. So they pulled up to this place, and the British team was leaving, and they didn't tell them anything about it. They said they looked like they were weary and they were anxious. They looked like they'd just been through battle, and that they had not. And the only thing they said to them was, and they said it very sternly, if you pick something up, put it back. So the Americans went up on this hill, which apparently was a burial ground. And the first thing they did was level it off. And they took the dirt from the top of this burial ground and put it in sandbags to be protection and build their trenches. And because they didn't think the British trenches were deep enough. And so they found bones, and they just, everything got shoved into these sandbags. And so, what could possibly happen? So they very quickly found out that there were, they would go, one person at a time would be a lookout through the night. And so they quickly found out that there were spirits coming, and they would see people in the distance just staring at them. And they would look through their gun, and through their thermal imaging, they couldn't see, they couldn't detect the person. They could see it with their naked eye, but they couldn't detect it with the thermal imaging. So they were confused. They didn't know what was going on. And they would look through the finder on the thermal imaging and see with their naked eye, they could see someone in the valley. The next thing they know, they look through the thermal imaging, put it back down, and somebody's right in front of them. And yeah, real scary. So this happened quite a few times to them. And the one soldier just thought he was losing his mind, and he requested to get out of there and to move to another unit. And so they did that. And then, let me see, I have them in my notes. The radios would crackle and they couldn't get good communication. And it would make a lot of weird noises. And then they would also hear what sounded like Russian people talking in their ear. And of course, nobody was there. They would get tapped on the back, thinking it was their commander. They'd turn around, nobody was there. So at one point, they thought they were, a lot of them were in the trenches, and they started hearing enemy gunfire. And so they were frightened and they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And there was one time that they had a dog with them, and the dog would alert to things that were happening. But then they thought they heard, what are they? Tell me again what they are. You know, hand grenades.
Hand grenade.
Thanks for your help. Hand grenades. They were hearing hand grenades. Nobody was hit in this gunfire, in this attack. And then the next day they would come out and there would be no shells, there would be no hand grenades, there would be nothing, no evidence of any kind of battle whatsoever. But that was a whole group of, I believe it was 8 or 10 of them in the trenches, of these Americans that were in the trenches. And so that was it. That was the ghost story. And they had talked about it a few times together, and they all had the same experience. And then they had this experience together, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now it's amazing.
Yeah.
But would you ever put bones in a bag? A person's, how disrespectful is that?
How exactly? Exactly. I was like, oh, good. You're going to go level off the burial ground and take everybody.
Throw the bones in so they're not even in the right place or with the right person, or it's
You could never make up for it and put them back, because who knew where you got them from?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's horrible.
Yeah.
But it's an amazingly good ghost story. It really is.
Yeah. And there's a few that come from the same area. Different people reporting on using like the outhouse or something, and they could hear boots walking by them, and they could hear the gear that and they said no locals would have this military gear that they walked with, and the heavy combat boots. And then they would investigate, nothing was ever there. But it was always in the desert, in the heat, and they would get these very, very cold spots. And they didn't know much about it, these individuals, so they didn't know what was going to happen next. But after they started talking about it, they figured it out. Kind of weird.
Yeah, no, that's neat.
Yeah.
I understand that in the Ukraine, that a lot of Ukrainians have seen ghosts, and ghosts have helped them, told them where there's IEDs and stuff like that, told them to be careful and not go places.
Yeah.
I read some stuff about that, which I thought was really cool. But, well, I think that we have run the hour through.
Yeah.
We're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Any more ghost stories or any more questions or anything? Any more anything? Well, stay tuned, because I'm pretty sure we'll be broadcasting live from...
Yeah, a week from Monday, May 11th, we're going to have a live broadcast from Jenny Wade in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Should be interesting.
That should be cool.
Yeah. Joy remembers that place, right, Joy?
Yeah, really
A
cool.
lot of fun. Let's
I
hope
think
it's
Mary
not
remembers that place. I think
I
her
remember
husband
hearing
remembers that
Joy
place.
upstairs going, "Oh my God!"
But it was a happy, oh my God.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, she was excited.
It was. It's a happy one.
Paul Paula said, But the important question is Barbara a gimp? Okay, I have to tell you something.
Well,
This is so
well, Paul,
crazy.
funny you should ask.
Funny you should ask.
Uh-oh.
She was born. Oh God, this is so crazy. She was born with one leg shorter than the other.
Oh
I
boy, so why are we
know,
making fun of these?
it's wild, isn't it? So she's had 3 surgeries, and
Huh.
and she just had to have a hip replaced because it's been, for so many years of having them be uneven, and now she has drop foot. So because
Oh,
they cut her nerves. But I know, isn't that wild? That is so wild. Yes, she was literally born with one leg shorter than the other.
Huh.
It was all my fault for walking on this.
One foot off the curb.
There you go.
And if Barbara's listening, I'm in deep doo doo right now.
It's all your fault.
Yes, it's all your
I
fault.
heard that's common in West Virginia, up in the mountains. The women keep running around the mountains, and it's crooked, so they got one leg's higher than the other.
Oh my gosh.
It would be.
Oh, Les.
Oh, it's okay, Paul.
No.
It's funny. It really is.
No,
It's not going to
you
be funny
don't-
to Barbara, but
Yeah.
you can answer to her.
Yeah, no, it's not so sorry to ask. It's just I said it's wild. I didn't say, I mean, that is crazy. Here's the wild part, Paul. I never put that together with what my grandmother
Right.
had said until this minute.
No, it didn't.
I've never said that
No.
before. I've never thought about that
Now you
before.
can feel guilty about
I
that.
tell that story about my grandmother all the time because she was always telling me stuff. Now you have to throw salt over your shoulder and get those birds out
Oh,
of the house.
quick, get the salt because we're going to have to start doing that next.
I know. And she told me all that stuff. And that one was the wild one to me. I
Okay.
thought my grandmother's really bongo, nutso. But I never. When I was in the medical field, to me, it was just like, okay, this is one of those things that happens. I never related it to that day that she and I were
Because you're
walking.
not superstitious.
Because I'm not superstitious at all. But
Well, now
That's
you've
really
learned
funny.
you should be.
Yes. That changes right now.
if any of you have birds, don't keep them in cages and don't keep them in your house. Oh my
Guys, I
God.
hate to do it, but I've got a real allergy headache that's
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
so I'm gonna
ending
have
up
to check
anyway,
out.
so, yeah.
Keep us
care, Joy.
posted about the
I
house.
will,
house
and I am hoping to be there and to watch you guys on in Gettysburg because I'm jealous.
Okay.
Oh, you'll be
You're-
missed.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we will
Okay,
miss
Good
you.
luck with all you have to do.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Robin, you're the one that's going to have to run around with us at midnight in the
Ducking
illegally.
behind rocks and stuff.
Kinda like you're a boulder.
Pretending to be a boulder when the police come by.
Better be wearing
Please.
gray, I guess.
The police pulled right up into the parking lot where Jess and and Les were running around illegally on the battlefield.
I
We're
don't
just-
want, I'll just
returning
claim
this
that
to-
something happened. I was lost and you were looking for me. I don't know what happened, officer. I just,
Oh, no.
I don't know,
George
lost my
just
way.
got
Good to
here.
have a story. I can tell you that. It's good to have a story.
Yes.
Hi, George. George, we can't repeat everything,
Yeah.
but we're glad you jumped in here. It's good to see you.
It is good to see you. We talked a lot about ghosts in war times and,
And a lot of other stuff.
and a lot of other irrelevant stuff that had nothing to do with anything. we just found out my grandmother was right about her superstitions.
Or maybe she cursed it.
Can you believe it? She'll kill me for saying this on a podcast, but she's almost 60 years old. She
Almost.
looks 30, but Anyway, in
Ooh,
all
ouch.
those years, I never put that together until tonight. That's
You're going to get a
wild.
phone call later.
No.
Now she has two things to talk to you about. The leg and the age thing.
I know. I know. I
What
know.
else can you tell us about Barbara?
That's okay. She tells everybody how old I am all the time. And she goes, "Can you believe my mother's that old? She doesn't look that old."
No, we
Oh, that's
can't.
not good that she says that, and you don't.
Yeah. And Barbara doesn't either. She doesn't. When I was, let me see. Can I show them this picture? Will they
It
see that?
usually doesn't turn out very
Yeah,
well.
that you can't really see that.
Yeah.
I was 69 in that picture. I look at that and I think, what the heck happened when I turned 70? Everything went boop.
Shh, that's
Fell
me
down
this
5
year. Don't
inches.
say that.
Paul Hollis says, just don't give her my phone number.
Too late. Just kidding.
Oh, I think that's so wild that I never put that together in my head before until Paul said that. And then I was like, oh
Ooh.
my gosh, she was born. And I never thought,
It's like,
oh, this happened and
say
that happened and put them together. I was just like, okay, this is a medical thing. It happens a lot. You know, we had decisions to make, surgery or no surgery and that kind of stuff.
And if you had just kept both feet on the sidewalk,
I know. If you just, when you were pregnant, if you just would have stayed on level ground, this would never have happened.
Oh, that's just
Wait
what
till
everyone
you
needs for
turn
their
83.
mommy
George
milk.
Dismukes says, wait till you turn 83. I
Well,
can wait.
We'll wait.
I can wait, George.
You go on ahead.
I'll be 83 in 4 years. Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I'll be
Really?
80. I'll be 80 next year. 80.
Wow. I would have never would have guessed that.
I'm like, I'll be what?
Yeah, right.
I'll be how old? I'm pretty sure I'm only 19 up
They're
here.
like, you guys are all lying to me.
I know. People are like, you still bike ride and go hiking? And we're like, yeah. You go camping all the time? Yep. Oh,
Why you're so young? Got to stay moving.
Yes.
you know, you really do. You really do need to stay moving as long as you can, I think.
I think
So
so.
we better go moving out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good seeing and talking with all of you.
May 11th, mark your calendar for the live broadcast.
Yeah. We changed our name to
Ghostwatch.
Ghostwatch. We'll have to change our intro.
I couldn't remember that. I was telling somebody, I'm like, ghost talk. No, ghost spot. No, wait. Ghost watch. Ghost watch. Okay.
It should be easier to remember than the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to remember.
It's just we've been talking about that one a lot. So
And it is the Ghost
It's a good
Watch.
one. Yep.
Mhm.
George says, by all means, don't be in a rush. At this age, you spend most of your time giving younger people advice.
Maybe
And
you do. They don't take any advice
don't
from
listen.
me.
They didn't want to hear it.
I know.
They tell me stuff.
You know what's really weird, and I don't want to hold this up, but what's really weird when you reach a certain age is that you tell a joke that was always funny, and the younger folks look at you like you're senile. Like it makes no sense. You're talking off your hat.
Yeah.
You know, it's annoying.
Yeah, I think it is a difference in the age. You know, things aren't funny.
Well, we were at the doctor the other day and we mentioned, I don't know, some TV show or some movie star or something.
OJ.
Yeah. Oh, the OJ Simpson thing.
The OJ Simpson,
Right?
when he was in the
And the girl
car,
goes,
and they go,
they look at each other and
they
say,
go,
well, we weren't born yet.
we weren't even born yet. I was like,
Okay.
well, that was
But they
really
act like
rude.
the fact you're talking about it is proof that you're like over the hill and losing it. When it makes perfect sense to you, you know, we all live this stuff.
We with our grandson is living with us, and what was it that we were reading? And he said, "I can't read that." A grocery list or something. It was written in cursive.
Cursive.
And
They
he
can't read
said,
cursive.
"Oh, I
They're
can't
not-
read cursive. I don't know what that is."
None of them can read cursive. So
Yeah.
if you give them a
It's
card or
there.
something, you have to print it. Go ahead.
Print it
Paul
out.
Hollis said, Clint Eastwood said, don't let the old man in. I'm trying that. Yeah, there you go. Don't let the old man in.
There you go.
But yeah, the jokes are generational, I think, and they don't get it. You know, they don't understand it. There's no point of reference for them. Like
My
O.J. Simpson, everybody knows about that slow
you would think.
Car chase.
ride, you know. There were riots and everything. What, you didn't even learn it in school? What the heck? I mean, but they didn't know what that was.
Wow.
I was at our dermatologist. Our dermatologist is too young. She isn't actually. It was the assistant and the
two
new
assistants.
PA. Yeah. But she knows. But goodness gracious me, we weren't even born then. Then they both burst out laughing, and I was like, "Well, that was really rude."
Yeah, that's
And
what
they
they
thought that was even funnier.
You know, this grandkid we got here at the house, we were in the car the other day, and he was talking about someplace he had to go or something. I said, "Well, what time you got to get out of Dodge?" And he just looked at me and go, "What?"
Why, he doesn't know get out of Dodge.
He had no idea what get out of Dodge meant.
Probably doesn't even know Dodge was a car.
Yeah.
Anyway, Marjorie says, I paid close attention to every word from my dining room table where I chopped veggies and started a batch of chicken soup. Multitasking, I haven't completely lost it yet.
That sounds so good.
That does sound good.
That sounds really nice.
We'll be right over.
His headphones.
Real quick, I was at McDonald's. This is a few years back. I was getting a soda and I paid for it entirely in change. I think I must have had more than that because it was quite a bit of change. And I said to the young girl inside, I said, "Wow, now I'm going to get better gas mileage." You probably aren't getting it either, but I thought it was hilarious. And she's looking at me like, "What?"
She didn't get it.
Not at all. She
I'll talk
just
to this
gave me
kid
this
here.
blank stare and then looked annoyed.
It's not funny when you have to explain it, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I'll talk to this kid here, and he just looks at her like, "Translation, please."
Well, every morning, Chris and I do all the New York Times games. We do the crossword, we do Wordle, we do, I don't know, connections, strands.
And of course, crosswords.
And all of the esoteric old stuff that we know helps in that because it's in there. And so then we've noticed that the stuff that our grandkids that, you know, that are in their 20s that have been going to concerts and stuff for years and have told us about every single concert and all of the genres that they like. Yes, I did say it that way. Like, so that helps a lot too. So we know the old stuff and we know a lot of the new stuff just because of everything they tell you, you know, about emo and heavy metal and all that kind of stuff. Rappers, yeah. 29 Pilots. I mean, I know a lot of names of groups that I've never heard any. Well, yes, I have. They've come over and played stuff too. But so it's good to get, you know, have them telling you all that stuff. And it's funny because I looked some stuff up on Google today. And then, you know how it always says, is there anything else? Do you have any other questions or anything like that? And I said, yeah. How can I save this? Can I save this whole list? And it said, yes, you can. It's easy. do this and this and this and this. And I'm like, I have no idea what the heck you are talking about. I didn't say
That
that to
many
Google.
steps, it's not easy.
It's like,
Just say, thank you, Google.
I
Bye-bye.
just said thanks and went offline and didn't save it because it was like, I will never find all that stuff that you're talking about. Oh, that's easy. You only have to do this. Okay, I'm not 18. I'm 79. I don't know what you're talking about. It was really funny. Oh, Lord.
And if there's anybody younger than like 30 right now watching this, they're like, oh my God, those old people won't stop talking.
Yeah, but you're old.
They've tried to quit 4 times already and ain't done it.
That's not age. That's just us.
Yeah. Yes, I was like this when I was 19. I'm still like this 60 years later. I hate to tell you. I haven't changed a whole lot. You know what? I was always talking so much and telling so many stories that more than once I'd be walking down the street with my girlfriends in in Boston. I don't even know where I lived. In Boston, and I would walk into light poles. I mean, and literally go bong.
I've seen people do that with cell phones. In Doylestown, when I'd be walking to work, they'd just doink.
Well, that wasn't cell phones. That was just me being into the moment. And then I'd do it again. Then it wasn't funny anymore. The second time I do it, then I'd get mad. All right, let's call it a night. It's a wrap, right?
Okay, is everybody done?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Quick before we talk again.
Yeah.
One
Good night,
more
everybody. I'm actually going to click off here.
thing. Good night,
Good night.
everybody.
Thanks for
Bye.
watching. Thanks for listening.